Alright guys, it's BackForwardPunch back again with another one of these collection videos where I'm leaning into the camera like this because the stuff is on the ground. And this time I'm doing Atari. And actually most of my Atari stuff, almost all of my Atari stuff, I got all at once from this guy for $20. It was in a box, just like a box full of Atari stuff. And he was like, "You can have it all, I don't need it." For $20. And I think that's pretty good. I mean, I got 2 Ataris, an okay amount of games, some controllers, some paddle controllers. But anyway, let's show each thing as we go along. All right, so let's start with the controllers as always. So I've got 3 Atari joysticks, and just in case you didn't know, they're supposed to be used like this, with one hand here, and then one hand on the button. For anybody that hasn't played Atari, got 3 of those. And I don't really like this controller very much. It does not work very well for me. Maybe it's just me. And I've got some paddle controllers. These are cool. These are good for Warlords, the game I have. These are really good for that. I don't know, I think they work for Breakout and other stuff. I actually don't have Breakout, so I can't really tell you. And this is a video touchpad. And I got this in the box with everything else, but I don't know what game it's for. I saw that there was some programming game when I looked it up, but I've never seen that game. And then this here, this looks like an Atari controller, but this is just one of those Atari plug-in-your TV joysticks. But it's got some cool games on it, so just wanted to show that off as well. And then I have 2 Atari 2600s, and I'll show you the one that I'm not as interested in as much as first. This is the Atari 2600 Junior, which has, it's got switches here for the difficulties and on-off, and in the back here we got the game ports just like always. And it's got that nice sleek design. It's very small, but there's one reason I don't like it, and that reason is that the switches here, like for selecting and resetting and everything. In Atari, you always have to use these a lot, and in this it's really hard for me to use. And also these difficulty switches are in the back here. It's a lot harder for me to use the switches on this one, in my opinion. But it works really well. It's a good system. One thing I wanted to mention is when I got this stuff, it didn't have the power adapter or the thing they use for the television included. So you need this little adapter on the end of it to make it a cable cord for the Atari, and then also you need a power adapter. And what I did was I took a Sega Genesis power adapter. If you can see, this is Sega Genesis power adapter, and I disconnected the end and I replaced it with this end. And actually, it's a good and bad thing. It was good because it actually ended up working, but the bad part about it is that this Atari here, when I first plugged it in, I was testing it, and I had the polarity wrong, meaning that the voltage was being sent to the wrong pin. So this Atari, it got blown, and actually I managed to actually fix it. I fixed it. I replaced the power regulator on it. It's this tiny little thing. It's not as big as it sounds, but just thought that'd be kind of interesting thing to know. But here's the big wood grained original Atari. This is actually the Atari Model 2 from what I looked up about it. It's got those switches. It's a stick switch, of course, yeah. And then in the back, of course, you're going to have the left controller, right controller, etc. And one thing I don't like about this is, why did they hardwire the wire into that? Well, whose idea was that? And also, what is the controllers doing in the back? I mean, how are you supposed to play like that? But this thing is really great. This is a awesome system. I really want to get some more games for it. One thing that's kind of interesting is when I open it up, there was a piece of paper taped to the inside here, and it says December 1980, so I guess that's when it was manufactured. Also, the Atari is enormous, but the board inside is about as big as this thing, or smaller than that. It's like, the board is only about that big. It's kind of crazy that they even made it that way, or they leave all this empty space. Another thing that's really weird to notice is, before I show you the games, let me turn it on, it's not garbage. Here's Yar's Revenge. I'm going to show you that in a second anyway. But the way you put it in isn't like any other system like I've ever played. You put the game in backwards. this. And then if you look at it now, the text is correct, and the label is on the back here. I don't know what the reason for that is. I don't know what they were doing, because the board in there, they could have changed it. I don't know what that was for. But anyway, so let's go through the games. Obviously, I have Yar's Revenge. Upside down, of course. Yar's Revenge, obviously. This is a great game. I have Pac-Man. Terrible game. You're going to end up getting it if you're collecting Atari games, but you don't want it. You don't want it at all. I've got Combat. I actually have two versions of Combat. One of them has this really boring artwork, but it does tell you what game is what. And this one's got cool artwork, but it doesn't tell you what game is what. So I guess I kind of like having both. And there's the top of Combat. I have Warlords, which is for use with the paddle controller. It's a pretty awesome game. What I like about these Atari games is, you know, it says for use with the paddle controller. They tell you there. And also there's the top. There's the top of Warlords. Warlords is an awesome game. I was actually playing with my niece. She's about 7 years old, and she was having fun with it. So that might say something about it. Got Asteroids here. There's the top of Asteroids. It's starting to come off. It's peeling off, if you can see it. Asteroids is an awesome game. Amazing. I think it's one of the best games I have there. I've got He-Man and it's so long, the title on this thing. Masters of the Universe, The Power of He-Man. I don't know what they were thinking there. But anyway, this game is, I have no idea what's going on. It's ridiculous. It's so hard to play. I have Spider-Man. Hey, which way is this going? Spider-Man. Spider-Man, here's the top of Spider-Man. It's got this it's weird, the shape, it's so strange. And this game is okay, but it's really hard. You just keep falling, and you just get bored after a while on that one. I have Frogs and Flies, which for the longest time I was thinking, it's got this weird shape again, just like He-Man. They're all by M Network. I don't know what they were doing with their cartridge designs here. But anyway, I thought for a while this was one of the worst games I had, but it turns out it's alright fun when you're playing with two people, but really it's not one of the best. I have Sword Quest Earthworld. There's the top here. This game actually, you need like a comic and the manual to play it. I don't have either of those things, so it's basically impossible to play. I think in the 80s when that game came out, those people were really hardcore to be able to try to play this game, like referring to the comic while you're playing it. It sounds like a cool idea, but I don't know if it works so well. I have, of course, the most common and the worst game on Atari. I don't know if this is the most common, but I know that there were so many that were buried in that landfill, so there must be a lot of them. Atari, E.T., the Extraterrestrial. And this game, actually, I don't think this is the worst game I have on Atari. I think Pac-Man takes that. And then I have Smurf Rescue in Gargamel's Castle. And this game actually isn't bad. It's made by Coleco. It's got another one of these weird shaped cartridges. It's strange that the cartridges on Atari aren't the same. And that game's actually, it's alright. It's kind of fun. It's easy to die like at random places. But anyway, that's the Atari collection. I didn't put it in the video with anything else because I figured I want to keep things kind of separately so that they make sense somewhat. And I don't have anything else Atari related, so. But there you go, and I'll see you guys in the next collection video in a bit.